am woke now, and I can prove it. Here you go. I love illegal immigrants. Yeah, sue me now. Sometimes I go down to Dover for the day, right? And I look out, right? I look for a boat, and I see a dinghy with about 60 of them, and I go over here, like, right? And I pull them into shore, and I go, women and children first. They go, there are no women and children. Just you lads, is it? Just come on, lads. Come on, lads.
Ricky Gervais is one of the funniest comedians around, known for tackling any topic fearlessly. People love him not just for his sharp humor, but for the way he delivers it.
I tried to watch a bit of it, and I decided I'd rather watch Louis C.K. masturbate. Can't mention him anymore, he's cancelled.
His jokes may be clever, but the real reason people laugh is that he speaks the truth, often the uncomfortable kind. It's funny because it's what everyone's thinking, but too afraid to say. In this video, we're breaking down Ricky Gervais' sharpest takes on woke culture. From calling out censorship to poking fun at identity politics, we'll explore his most controversial moments. No topic is off limits, and no one is safe from his biting sarcasm. Let's dive in, starting with Ricky's take on Boris Johnson's controversial comments about Muslim women. True to form, Ricky finds humor in even the most sensitive issues.
Say to me, you spoil that cat? I go, yeah, I do. It's a cat. It's not a person. What's the worst that can happen if you spoil a cat? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't grow up to be fucking Boris Johnson. It is... No, I don't get political.
Ricky expertly takes aim at both Boris Johnson and society's double standards with a single sharp punchline. Now, let's move on to something even bolder. Ricky's satirical take on illegal immigration.
I'm woke now, and I can prove it. Here you go. I love illegal immigrants. And I go, where you headed? And he goes, Gary Lineker's house. I go, it's just down there.
Ricky jokingly suggests that immigrants should be welcomed at Gary Lineker's house, turning a heated topic into pure comedy gold. Next, he shifts focus to a subject closer to his own world, woke comedy. With its endless rules and restrictions, Ricky isn't shy about sharing his thoughts. Here's his take on woke comedy and the idea of safe spaces in stand-up.
Says to me about another comedian, they say, oh, they're not funny. Even if I agree with them, I stand up and I say, well, you can't say that. You've got to say, you don't find them funny, you know. And I hate it when people say, that joke was offensive. I gotta say, no, you've got to say, you found it offensive. Because it's all about feelings, and feelings are...
Ricky argues that comedy loses its edge if it can't risk offending. It's what makes it real comedy. Now, let's move on to one of his most talked about moments, the Caitlyn Jenner joke. While some criticized it as transphobic, Ricky is here to explain why they completely missed the point.
Tom did it. It was a Caitlyn Jenner joke, right? Oh, outrage on Twitter the next day. And by outrage, I mean a couple of people going, it was transphobic. It wasn't transphobic in the slightest. It was a joke about a trans person, but the joke had nothing to do with that aspect of her existence. And that's the other thing about offence. People get offended when they mistake the subject of a joke with the actual target, and they're not necessarily the same. I'll tell you the joke, you make your own minds up. Right, so...
Ricky explains that just because something is the subject of a joke doesn't mean it's the target, a concept many still struggle to understand. Now, let's dive deeper into the cancel culture debate. Ricky has plenty to say on the matter, warning that those applauding cancellations today might one day find themselves on the receiving end.
If you're the type of person to revel in someone getting cancelled for something they said 10 years ago, you're just ensuring that one day you'll be cancelled for something you said today. You can't predict. The worst thing you can say today is, women don't have penises, right? Now, no one saw that coming.
Now, let's turn to another hot-button issue, the evolving definition of what it means to be a woman. Ricky never shies away from polarizing topics, and in this segment, he takes on the changing ideas around gender and identity with his trademark sharp humor.
Oh, women. Not all women. I mean the old-fashioned ones. You know, the old-fashioned women. Oh, God. You know, the ones with wombs. Oh.
He takes on another delicate subject, obesity. As always, he adds a twist of absurdity, humorously comparing it to being gay, leaving his audience both laughing and thinking.
I was listening to the radio in England a few weeks back, Radio 4, quite highbrow. There was a discussion about political correctness. My name came up straight away, right? And there was this woman on there going, oh yeah, well it's not right. Ricky Gervais, he makes jokes about fat people. He wouldn't make jokes about gay people, would he? And being fat is like being gay. What? No, it's not. What? You can't choose your sexuality.
Of course, Ricky doesn't buy into that comparison. Next, he takes on an even bigger issue: the hypocrisy of woke corporations in Hollywood. While they deliver virtue-signaling speeches, many are backed by companies running sweatshops behind the scenes. Ricky calls out these so-called moral high grounds, and honestly, we're right there with him.
Roared into the TV game with a morning show, a superb drama, a superb drama about the importance of dignity and doing the right thing, made by a company that runs sweatshops in China.
The term queer has changed dramatically over the years, and Ricky finds humor in just how confusing it has all become.
Of course, the word queer has changed. Again, traditionally, the word queer used to mean someone who was attracted to the same sex as themselves, a gay man. Now, the word queer can mean a straight man who wants some attention.
Ricky's sharp sarcasm always highlights the absurdities, and next, he tackles what really happens when people claim to be offended. In his view, being offended doesn't automatically make you right. He explains why offense is subjective and why it's so important to keep pushing boundaries in comedy.
Well, that's the thing about offence, isn't it? When people say they're offended, it's that, just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right, you know? It's... offence is about feelings.
It's a fine line, but Ricky believes the best comedy challenges the norm. Next, he talks about the reaction to his Netflix special Supernature, which sparked a lot of online controversy. His response? Let's just say, he's not losing any sleep over it.
Our show Supernature dropped on Netflix last year. Big backlash, wasn't there? Big backlash. People going, you can't say that. You can. I did. Well, I am woke, and now I'm woke, the first thing I've got to do is change my Twitter bio. Because at the moment, it's like a list of the shows I've created. But now I'm woke, I've got to pop in the word anti-fascist.
Ricky thinks controversy can actually help boost the popularity of a special. Next, he addresses another hot topic: cultural appropriation. While it's been a big point of discussion recently, Ricky isn't convinced it's as big of an issue as people make it out to be. Here's his take on the matter.
Cultural appropriation. Have you heard of that? Cultural appropriation, the latest no-no. Now, again, in my day, it was considered a good thing to swap ideas with other cultures, with other nations, to share things with other races, to assimilate. It was the opposite of racist. Now it's...
In the next segment, Ricky takes aim at virtue signalers.
But these people are virtue signaling. They're trying to bring people down to raise their own status. And they say it's because, no, we're protecting minorities. Like, they're basically saying minorities haven't got a sense of humour. I'm a white, heterosexual multi-millionaire, right? There's less than 1%.
Ricky argues that pretending to support minorities without truly understanding their experiences is more condescending than progressive. Next, he shares his thoughts on the limits of free speech, particularly in comedy. Ricky is passionate about freedom of expression and explains why making jokes about serious issues
And explain to someone every day what freedom of speech means, particularly in the context of comedy, and particularly in the context of a joke, that a joke about a bad thing isn't as bad as the bad thing. It's not even necessarily condoning the bad thing. It could be anti the bad thing. It depends on the actual joke. And this woman said, you should never make jokes about food allergies. I should have left it, right? I sent back, I make jokes about AIDS, cancer, famine, and the Holocaust, right? And you're telling me I should never joke about food allergies. She sent back, yes, but the Holocaust didn't kill children. Well, it did, didn't it? It was horrible, the Holocaust. Some would say as bad as food allergies.
Ricky's message is clear. Making jokes about serious issues doesn't take away from their importance. Instead, it makes us question our beliefs about them. Now, let's dive into how Ricky uses irony to address political correctness in his stand-up. In Women Are Funny, he tackles the outdated stereotype that women aren't funny, showing just how ridiculous that idea is.
No dancers or jugglers. It's basically a bloke talking, which is essentially what stand-up comedy is, isn't it? A bloke talking. Sexist. What about all the funny female comedians? Like, No. Right. No. I'm not doing that. Okay, right. That was irony. There's going to be a bit of that throughout the show. See if you can spot it, okay? Now, That's when I say something I don't really mean for comic effect, and you as an audience, you laugh at the wrong thing because you know what the right thing is. It's a way of satirising attitudes. Like that first joke, I used the old-fashioned sexist trope that women aren't funny. Now, in real life, I know there are loads of funny women. Like, I did it again, well spotted, good.
The heart of it all is irony. Ricky knows full well that women are just as funny. In this final clip, he shares his thoughts on the critics who claim he's too controversial.